Hey, lovers. Welcome to the Book Lovers Club, the podcast where we celebrate Black sapphic love stories, one book at a time. I'm your host, Joy, a married lesbian, lifelong book lover, and relational communication scholar. Here, we don't just read the romance, we learn from it. I believe that love stories can do more than just entertain us. They can teach us how to love better, how to see ourselves more clearly, and how to create the love life of our dreams. Each week, I'll dive into sapphic stories written for us and by us, while weaving in personal insights and communication lessons you can take off the page. So grab your drink, get cozy, and let's turn the page together. Welcome to the club. Hey, book lovers. Welcome back to another episode of the Book Lovers Club. And y'all, I am going through it today, okay? It's been one hell of a week. Coming back from the warmth and sunniness of Arizona to Chicago's cold and snowy weather has been a lot, okay? Has been a lot. I miss Arizona so bad. I'm like going through it, okay? It's been a rough week. And then with classes starting next week, it's been like really hectic as the school year is about to start, getting students prepared for the winter term and all of that. So I feel like I need a vacation from the vacation. All right. But we here. Your girl showed up. The consistency amazes me. All right. But I am here. And we're going to yap about books. So today's episode, I will be talking to you all just a little bit about Bliss by Fiona Zedde. Okay. And if you're new here, each week, I talk a little bit about the themes of the books that we're reading for the month. And then at the end of the month, do a deeper dive and like really unpack the book, rate the book, all of that. Okay. So, but today we're going to talk a little bit about Bliss by Fiona Zedde and then also recap my trip a little bit and just some announcements before the next episode. So, I went to Arizona before on a trip with my mother, and we were in like the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. I didn't like it. I didn't have a good time. I wasn't feeling it. It was giving racist. I wasn't really feeling the vibes. So, I was on the fence this time, but we were going to Tucson. So, we spent most of the trip in Tucson. So we flew into Phoenix and then drove down to Tucson and spent a few days there and hiked Saguaro National Park. So Saguaro National Park has a east and west side. So we split the hikes up over 2 days. And then the other day, we just spent time exploring the city. The city is real cute, y'all. I enjoyed it. I like Tucson. I liked it way better than the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, okay? But Tucson has murals everywhere. The food, like they have a really good food scene. So everything we ate was really good. But we really spent the whole day hiking. So the very first day, I mean, from the moment we got to the national park, and I was like, ooh, pull over here so that my wife could take a picture of me. She fell on the cactus, y'all. I I felt so bad because the only reason why she fell on that cactus is because she was trying to get them angles, baby, and trying to take a good picture of me. So I felt like it was partially my fault that she got injured like this, but it was wild. So the cactus needles were sticking out of her pants, and then they went through the pants and were like stuck in her leg. So even when she took the pants leg off to try to like they were like stuck in her leg. It was so many of them, y'all. And then one of the needles stuck me in the hand when I was trying to help her take it out, and I was about to crash out, and it was only one needle in my thumb. She had several, a lot, plural, plenty in her leg. But my wife took that shit like a G. I'm so glad it was her and not me because we would have had to go home. I'm a baby, okay? I would have crashed out. We would have had to go home. But she handled that shit like a G, okay? It didn't even ruin the trip. Didn't even ruin the trip. But that happened right when we got to the national park. I mean, as soon as we pulled into the park, I was like, ooh, pull over here and take a picture of me. And bam, she fell on the cactus. So I'm glad that it wasn't worse and that we were able to resolve it pretty quickly and get those needles out of her leg and nothing major happened. She didn't have any major like health issues on the back end of it. But it was crazy, y'all. Crazy. I've never seen cactus needles like that sticking out of no skin. It was just crazy. But we ended up Googling and going down a rabbit hole. Apparently, that's very common for people to, fall or get stuck by cactus or cacti and have those needles in their skin and stuff like that. So it was a lot of resources online to help us navigate that. But that was a crazy introduction to the park into Arizona. Crazy introduction. But nothing crazy like that happened after that, except us getting lost in the desert. So we did get lost in the desert. I keep seeing these posts floating around about, me and my emergency contact in the same emergency. That was me and my wife, okay? We be in the same emergencies, and she's my emergency contact. How we got lost in the desert is beyond me. I don't know where the survival skills are, okay? Because not only did we leave the map in the car, wifey drank all the water. So we not only stuck in the desert, but we don't have enough liquid. Could have went left real quick, okay? That could have went bad, but my brain be braining, okay? My synapses be connected. All right? I saw some cars go by us. So I'm like, let's make our way to where we saw the cars. So we eventually ended up on a single lane road, the same road that we drove to get in to the national park. So eventually, if we just kept walking up the road, we will find where we had parked our car, which was like the parking lot that was next to the trailhead. So we figured it out. We got there, but y'all walking up that mountain on that road to get to the car, and we already didn't have no water. It was a lot. It was a lot. I almost went home after that, but we had made plans to go to Gates Pass to see the sunset. And I'll be damned if we wasn't about to go see the sunset. So we got our asses back in the car and then went up to Gates Pass and hiked on down so that we could get a good spot for the sunset. But it was rough. It was rough. But we definitely got lost in the desert there. But yeah, we spent, 2 days hiking the east and west side of Saguaro National Park. And y'all, the cactus there, they are ginormous. Huge. I've never seen no shit like this in my life. Okay. I know a lot of people prioritize international travel, and don't get me wrong, I like to go out of the country too, okay? We done been to like 7 countries, which isn't a lot. Some people done been to like 20, 30, 100 countries. I've been to 7 countries, okay? So I've been to the Bahamas, Costa Rica, London, Paris, Rome. I've been to Montreal and Toronto, so that's what, Canada. I've been to Mexico. So I like to travel outside of the country as well, okay? However, there's so much to see just in our country alone. So I am definitely somebody that will travel domestically. And we have this map that's in our living room that we hang up that, you take pictures in all of the different states and then you put it on the map. So we've been just visiting places so that we can complete that map with all of our pictures of where we've traveled to. So we only got a few states left. It's the ones that I really don't want to go to. The Dakotas, Utah, Wyoming. So some of those real country, rural, predominantly white, Mormon, all the things, red states. I haven't prioritized visiting there, but eventually we're gonna go so we can at least fill up the map with our picture that we've taken there. But anyway, so after we left Tucson, we drove up to Phoenix and then we stopped at this state park that's right outside of Phoenix called Pikachu Peak State Park. Y'all, that park is beautiful. We had a really good time hiking that park. So beautiful. We stopped there and did that one. And then once we got to Phoenix the next day, we drove up to Sedona. Now, Sedona is beautiful. That red rock and just all the different colors and how vibrant it is there. I love Sedona. So next time we go back to Arizona, we're going to spend a little bit more time in Sedona. But we hiked the Bell Rock Pathway. So it's a trail that goes through Bell Rock. And y'all, the views of the rocks and the mountains is just gorgeous. I am a dilly-dallyer, okay? Look, we gonna walk through these trails, walk through this nature. I'm gonna look at the birds and look at the plants and look at the trees and the cactus and everything. Like, we just had a really good time just being in nature. And, I'm not one of those hikers where I'm gonna scale any mountains like that. I'm not a rock climber. Not for real. Now, I ain't gonna never say never because I could see my evolution becoming a rock climber. However, where I am now at this age and stage, baby, I am not climbing rocks like that. However, I love a moderate hike. I like a little terrain, diversity. Give me some rocks, give me some elevation and things like that. But I don't want to have to like literally rock climb. I'm not there yet in my hiking journey, okay? However, seeing them people that's like 86, 90 years old passing us up on the trail on they mountain bikes and shit, it was very humbling, okay? I swear that man couldn't have been no younger than 86 on his mountain bike passing us up talking about, hey kiddos, hey kids. We like, oh hey. There was so many older people. I mean older people out there, silver-haired baddies out here hiking, biking, jogging, running, everything through the desert. It was a sight to see and very inspiring. All right, so if you have not read Bliss, some of this might be a little bit of a spoiler. So it is okay if you want to exit stage left, if you don't want to hear anything beyond this point, because this might be a spoiler for you. But I want to talk about the book. So one of my book clubbers, she had read and finished the book before I did. So she had already kind of gave me an impression of the book because she had reached out and was talking about how spicy it was. So the first part of the book is very much erotica, okay? It's very smutty, very smutty. But then there's a second part of the book that she ends up going to Jamaica to visit her father and to spend time with her family. And that's a different vibe, okay? So it's just super smutty and super spicy in the beginning part of the book. The second half of the book, completely different vibe. All right, so I'm going to be talking about the first half of the book today. This book low-key triggered me, okay? Because lesbian breakups, like, why are they so hard to navigate? Like, just emotionally draining. So, my girl, Sinclair, Bliss Sinclair, all right? She started the book with a man, a boyfriend, all right? Meets this woman named Regina. After 3 days of meeting Regina, she break up with her man and enter in a relationship where they fucking. They just fucking. Enter into a sexing relationship with Regina. After a month of messing with Regina tell her like, oh yeah, it's time for me to move around, baby. I don't stay around too long. I'm here for a good time, not a long time, because I already got me a thing. I already got me somebody at home. Okay? After a month of messing with this girl, Sinclair about to crash out. Okay? I mean, she fucking up at her job. She depressed, not eating, not sleeping, going through it. Like dead ass. After a month of fucking with somebody. So this woman had you breaking up with your boyfriend after 3 days and you crashing out like this after a month. And the whole time I'm reading it, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know what it is about lesbian breakups, but they just hit different. They do. They really do. And a month in lesbian dating is like so much longer than a heterosexual relationship. These relationships move so damn fast, like for real. So a month in a lesbian relationship feels so much longer. And just how attached she was getting to this girl. And she like, look, this ain't that. Regina had her down bad. Now you fleeing the country and you got to go to Jamaica to spend some time with your family because this breakup is knocking you down like this and that. The whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, this crazy. Because that's about right. These lesbian breakups, they wasn't even in no relationship. They was only fucking. They were not even in a relationship. It was just a sexual relationship. And it had her down bad like this. And it just made me start thinking about when that happened to me. Like, it was a girl that I was dating and I was getting really attached. She told me on our third date, we were out on our third date. So she telling me on the third date that this was our last date because she don't do more than 3 dates. So I'm like, what? I'm thinking we really liking each other. Like, I'm vibing. I'm enjoying where things are going. I'm excited for the next day. She's like, oh no, this the last date. I don't do more than 3 dates. I move around after 3 dates. She had a whole nother bitch at home. She was living with somebody. So You've been out here entertaining me, taking me on dates and stuff like this, but you got a whole situation at home living with a girl. So you can't do more than 3 dates because it'll get complicated and you can't do that. When I tell you I was blue, so reading what was happening to Bliss, when I tell you I was over relating. So this whole thing reminded me of season 1, L Word. Do y'all remember when Jenny was messing with Marina? That's what this reminded me of. And I was just like, this is so crazy just how these lesbian breakups really like will derail your whole life. Have you ever gone through a really bad breakup with somebody and y'all weren't even really in a relationship? That's why I tell people like friends with benefits or these situationships, they're very difficult to manage because your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake. But you see how quickly Sinclair got her emotions involved with Regina, even though Regina told her what it was and that it wasn't anything serious. They were just having sex. That breakup still hit the same, like they had been together for a really long time. What do you think are some of the reasons why lesbian breakups just kind of hit different? I think the emotional bonds that women form with each other in same sex relationships make it more difficult on the back end of that relationship ending. Earlier episodes when I had talked to you all about affection and how it forms connections, Regina engaged in a lot of kissing, cuddling, and caressing. And her body formed a biological attachment to her. The way Regina had my girl going through it, it really reminded me of Jenny and Marina, L Word season 1, because I feel like it was the same thing. Like Jenny was getting super attached and Marina wasn't even single. Same with Regina. She's in a very serious relationship. And this happens very often. Like the girl that I dated and had the 3-day rule. And I'm sitting here ready to lock it down. And I didn't know I was on my last date. I appreciate clear expectations and telling people up front what it is. But even that, you could go into a situation knowing that this isn't going to be serious. This is something lighthearted, and your emotions could still get involved, which is why it's playing a game of roulette, trying to have sex and engage in these behaviors and not wanting to get too attached. Not everybody can do that, okay? You better find you something safe to do. With Regina being the first woman that Sinclair engaged in with this, it opened up another side of her with her sexuality too. And she was ready to like really lean into that and explore that. And then this connection got severed so abruptly because she really thought they were building something. Her coming out of the closet and having a sexual awakening was also attached to that, which is how she realized like she needed to break up with that boyfriend anyway because she don't really like men, or she don't like him at least. And this relationship with Regina served its purpose to expose her to this side of her that prefers women. So, not every relationship is meant to last. Some things are only for a season and meant to usher you into a different era of your life. And in this case, help her come out of the closet. But what y'all think about the book so far? How are y'all liking it? I will say it's very like night and day, the first half of this book versus the second half of the book. But her choosing to go to Jamaica, how traveling can help people heal, having that space to kind of process how she was feeling and work through that. Traveling really does give us that opportunity to engage in that self reflection and that work. And I really got to tap into that on my trip to Arizona. So if you listened to last week's episode, I announced that author Carmen Lee and Erica Alexander will be coming on my podcast. So I will be conducting those interviews soon. So stay tuned. I'll let you know when you'll be able to listen to them. However, I have 2 more authors that I am scheduled to interview. So I will be interviewing author D.O. Robinson. So she reached out to me on TikTok back in December because I was talking about sapphic novellas and Christmas novellas, and she wrote one called Holiday Truce. So I'm like, you know what? I got a free moment. Let me go ahead and check out her book. Y'all, the book was good. Had some yearning and slow burn energy, but it was spicy. It was good. So D.O. Robinson will be coming on my pod. There's one more author that I reached out to. I was really shooting my shot. I didn't think she was going to respond, but she did. I don't want to announce it just yet because I don't want to jinx it. She has agreed to come on my podcast, but until I get it scheduled and get it on the books, I don't want to tell y'all just yet. But just know, once it's locked in stone and I have it scheduled in my books, I will announce that to y'all. Maybe y'all could guess, but she is a Black fantasy author, best-selling author. I am a fan. I've mentioned her on my podcast before. I was an ARC reviewer for her, and she is dropping a Black Sapphic fantasy book this year. So she has a series of books, and this is the 4th book in the series. Okay? And the 4th book in the series is going to be a Black Sapphic book. And that's all I'm going to give y'all, a little teaser. So if you think you can guess who that author is, come and slide in my DMs or reach out to me on socials. Let me know what your guess is. But until I get that locked in and pencil, like it's on the schedule and we have it locked in, I'm not going to tell y'all who it is just yet. Just know I've been super geeking ever since. Ever since she responded to me and said, yes, she will come on my podcast to discuss her book, because I am a huge fan. A huge fan. And I'm so excited that she's dropping a Black Sapphic book and that she's choosing to tell this type of story. So I'm very, very, very excited. And she's a Chicago girl, so I already know the vibe's going to be right. So I will keep y'all posted on that. But if you can guess who I'm talking about, then you reach out to me and let me know. So for those of you who are interested in joining my book club, our next in-person book club meeting is coming up on January 31st. We will be discussing in person Bliss by Fiona Zedde, and we will also be talking about Ain't Too Old to Grind by Aunt Georgia Lee. Aunt Georgia Lee will actually be joining us virtually for a part of the meeting to discuss her book with us. All right. And then people who attend the book club meeting will be entered into a raffle to win a free book box that's similar to the one that she gave me. And I have videos of that book box on my social media if you want to see what it looks like. But if you are interested in joining our in-person book club, or if you want to participate virtually, please make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. Everything you will ever need is on my website, thebookloveher.com, and that's LOVHER.com. Everything you need is on there. I put all of the RSVP information, all of the updates, and everything that's going on with me in my newsletter, and I send that out weekly, every Monday. All right, so make sure you subscribe so you can get the information for the book club meeting. But if you would like to join either virtually or in person, this meeting will be asynchronous. So we'll have both a virtual and in-person option. And those who attend and participate will enter that raffle. So please join us. You are more than welcome. I know some people are like, why don't you use Eventbrite? Why don't you use these things? Why am I giving traffic to other websites when I have my own? So everything that y'all need from me, come to my website. Thank you for tuning in to the Book Lovers Club. If you love today's episode, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a chapter. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review, because you know those reviews help other lovers find us. So if you want to keep this conversation going, please join me on Instagram or hop on over to Fable to join the virtual book club. And until next time, remember, the stories we read can help us write the love lives of our dreams. See you next Sapphic Saturday.